Koto, and welcome to RBK at your house this morning. It is epic that we get to come and hang out together, learn about God and worship Him together and have a whole lot of fun, even though we can't be together in person. So shot for joining us. There are a few things to let you know. You might have seen on the intro screen that there are a couple of things to get ready that you're going to need for today, and it's going to make it a whole lot easier. So I'll remind you of those, and you can have a couple of minutes while I'm introing this to go and grab those if you haven't already. You need 1 teaspoon per person. You need a dessert bowl, but not too deep. If you've got shallow ones, that'll make it easier, and a bunch of something to put in them. So that can be anything. That can be M&Ms, Skittles, chocolate drops, vitamin C tablets, marbles, whatever you've got lying around. Probably 30 or 40 of them will be enough. You'll see what we're up to later. And a couple of rolls of toilet paper. And the last thing you need is at least 2 people. So if you're sitting here watching it by yourself, go grab someone else, drag them back here, and I promise it'll be way more fun with someone else here. And we had a great time last weekend in our kids program, and thanks to everyone who participated. And thanks especially to the McCartneys for sending in their amazing artwork. It's actually really impressive. Check it out. Cool, eh? So shot, and please, when you're doing stuff, keep sending photos in to stephen@rbc.net.nz because I love to see them and we can share them on the show next weekend. So we've got another amazing time ahead for you today. We've got some more activities, we've got a memory verse, we've got a Bible story, we've got some really fun challenges, and some worship. And of course, birthday shout outs. The most important thing that I know you're all looking forward to, and I think we've got a few today. So Si, what have we got?
Good morning, RBK. Welcome to Week Down Lockdown 5. Also, welcome to Simon's Morning Face. You may have noticed the clock behind me, which says about 20 to 1 o'clock. That's 1 o'clock in the morning. Yes, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm getting ready to go to work at the bakery. That's how committed I am. Hey guys, shout out for birthdays this week. Only a couple, but they're pretty important. We've got Cameron Tobin, who just turned all of 12 on Tuesday, I think it was. Yes, happy 10th birthday, Cameron. And Mrs. Brophy, who turned something on Saturday, Anzac Day. I can't tell you how old she is because it's kind of rude to tell a woman's age. But trust me, she'll enjoy it if you ask her. Haven't got any chocolate for you, but I do have this. Let me just find it. Ooh. Again, unfortunately, I'm going to have to eat it though. It's a sacrifice I'm willing to make for you. So hey guys, hope you're having a good time. You're almost at the end. Just stay true guys, you can do it. Missing y'all heaps, and yeah, keep on going. And love God. Amen.
Thank you, Simon. So now we are going to use our bodies and our voices to worship God. So get to your feet and let's get ready to worship. We've got a new song today. The first one is called Waymaker, and it's a song about how God makes the way even when things are tough, even when things are unknown. And this one is especially cool because it was recorded with over 300 kids' voices from all around the world. So what are you waiting for? Get up and let's worship God together.
You are here, moving in our midst. I worship you, I worship you. You are here, working in this place. I worship you, I worship you. Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. Whoa, waymaker, miracle worker, promise amazing. Woo, that's why I praise them. They don't know where we done came from. On my mama, they can't harm us. Got my arms up, but we covered in that armor. And we done made it. Y'all ain't hear me, but we made it. I ain't earned it, but I take it. Got that light inside of me that you don't need no eyes to see. And you can feel it, you can hear it when I say, hey, hey. Yeah, yeah. This is unfailing love. Yeah, yeah. That you would take my place. Oh, yeah. Take my place, take my place. That you would bear my cross. You bear my cross, you bear my cross. You lay down your life. Yeah. You lay down. That I would be set free. Set free, set free, set free. Whoa, Jesus, I sing for all that you've done for me.
Awesome, how fun was that? I love that we can all worship God together from wherever we are. That's pretty cool. Hey, it's activity time, and activity number 1 is where you use your teaspoons, your bowls, and whatever small objects you've got to go in them. So I will cut to a video of me and my kids explaining it, and then you'll get a chance to see how you get on. Ready? Go. Alrighty, so for today's challenge, I've got my 2 fantastic helpers here. You ready to rumble, kids?
Yeah.
Okay. And they've got a few things ready for this activity, and you need to make sure you've got them ready too. The first thing you need is 1 teaspoon per person, like so, ta-da. The second thing you need is 2 bowls. You don't want really deep bowls. If they're too deep, it gets a bit harder. So something like this would work. And the last thing you need is a bunch of something to fill one of the bowls with. We've got vitamin C tablets here because that was something we had lying around. But you can use really anything. You could use marbles, chocolate drops, M&Ms, popcorn, anything that you can transfer from one bowl to another. Now the mission is to get as many items from one bowl to the other in 60 seconds. But you can only use the teaspoon, and the teaspoon can only be in your mouth. You can't use your hands to touch it, and you can only transfer 1 item at a time. So here's how it's going to work. We'll give you a 10-second countdown on the screen to make sure you've got all ready and set to go. Then you'll get a 60-second timer to do as many as you can. Then after that, we'll switch and you'll have a second chance so you can compete against the other person and see how you get on. Ashley, you ready to show them how it's done?
Yeah.
Alrighty, I'll get a timer ready. Timer ready, are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
On your marks, get set, go. Alright, and that is 1 minute up. Ashton, you've got how many? Plus a teaspoon, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. We can do 12 here. How many can you do? And your chance is coming up now. Good luck.
The game begins in 3, 2, 1. The game begins in 3, 2, 1.
How'd you get on? You have fun? That is good. Make sure to send me photos or videos of how you went, and let me know if you managed to beat Ashton's 12. He's pretty good. Hey, so 2 weeks ago we celebrated Easter with thousands of people all around the world, and Easter is especially good news because it is a time for us to remember that Jesus died and he rose again for us because he loves us so much, and that he invites every single one of us to be his friend. That's pretty cool. And then last week we looked at what is the church. And we learned that the church isn't just some building we go to or some service that we head along to on a Sunday, but the church is me and you. The church is a group of people who have decided to make Jesus their Lord and follow him. Now, the passage that we're looking at this week is from Acts 8, 1-5, and it's pretty incredible. So this is the story of the early church, those followers of Jesus. And I'll read it and then we'll talk through a couple of things. If you've got a Bible, you can follow along with me. This is Acts 8, 1-5 in the New Living Translation. This is what it says. Saul was one of the witnesses, and he completely agreed with the killing of Stephen. A great wave of persecution began that day, sweeping over the church in Jerusalem, and all the believers except the apostles were scattered through the regions of Judea and Samaria. Some devout men came and buried Stephen with great mourning. But Saul was going everywhere to destroy the church. He went from house to house, dragging out both men and women and throwing them into prison. But the believers who were scattered preached the good news about Jesus wherever they went. For example, Peter went to the city of Samaria and told the people there about the Messiah. So even though times were pretty tough for the early church, there was this crazy guy called Saul who was he did not like the early church. He did not like the Christians, and he spent his whole life, well, up until something changed, we'll talk about that later, chasing around these believers, these Christians, these followers of Jesus, and throwing them in jail. And sometimes they even got killed. And it was pretty rough. But what I love about this passage is that we see that even though things were really tough and scary for them, maybe a little bit like it is for us now, and they were all scattered about everywhere and weren't able to join together like they normally do, maybe a little bit like us now, that God still used that circumstance to tell people about him, to spread the good news about Jesus and to show others his love. In verse 4 it says, but the believers who were scattered preached the good news about Jesus wherever they went. And so I love that even now when we're scattered, even now when we aren't able to be together, that we are able to show God's love in lockdown. How do we do that, you ask? Well, there's a heaps of different ideas, but we've got some suggestions of something practical you can do this weekend. So check out this list. Like I said, there's lots of different ways to show God's love, even while we're scattered about, even while we're in lockdown. The first one of those that you could do this week is to pick someone who might be a bit more isolated, who might not have friends or family around them, and you can support them. It might be flicking them a text every day, it might be giving them a call, it might be FaceTiming them so you can chat and see how they're doing and fill them in on what you've been up to. It's pretty cool. The second thing you could do is pick someone from school and pray for them each day. Write their name down on a sticky note, stick it next to your bed, and each morning and each night when you get into bed and when you get out, that can be your reminder to pray for them. And the last thing you can do this week is each day try intentionally to do one kind thing for someone in your whānau. It can be big or small, but it's just being on the lookout for kind things that you can do to show God's love to other people. Heaps of ways, that's only the start, and your challenge is to take that and run with it. But I would love to hear what you've done this week to show God's love, even though we can't be together, even though we're locked down. Because God has not stopped working, and God will never stop working in you and through you. That's pretty awesome. The memory verse for this week comes from that passage in Acts, and it's Acts 8:4. And it says this, but the believers who were scattered preached the good news about Jesus wherever they went. So just like last week, first up, I'll say it and it'll come up on the screen and you'll get a chance to read it and listen to me. The second time through, we'll say it together. And the third time, I'll stop and see how much of it you can remember. No worries if you can't remember the whole thing, but take some time, write it down, stick it up, and spend this week memorizing that. Alright, so first through, I'll say it, you can read it. It goes, Acts 8:4. But the believers who were scattered preached the good news about Jesus wherever they went. Cool, you ready to join me? Okay, take two. We're going to say it together. You ready? Acts 8:4. But the believers who were scattered preached the good news about Jesus wherever they went. And now it's your turn. Give it a whirl, see how much you can remember. On your marks, get set, go. Nice, good stuff. You did really well. So make sure you spend this week keeping on memorizing that, because that's an important thing to know. That no matter what happens around us, no matter if we're together or no matter if we're scattered, that God can still use us to preach the good news about Jesus and to show His love to everyone around us. Alright, so it's activity time again. Activity number 2 is pretty fun and it is called Dizzy Mummy. Sounds a bit weird, but it's a whole lot of fun. This is where the rolls of toilet paper come in, so make sure you've got those ready. In a few moments, the instructions will come up on the screen. Then you get a 10-second timer to make sure you've got all your stuff ready. Then a 60-second countdown to see how you get on. Then we'll come back on and switch around so the second person gets a chance to go. You ready? And go.
Dizzy Mummy. It takes less than a pound of force to tear a sheet of toilet paper. In this challenge, using only their body, the contestant must unwind an entire roll of toilet paper by executing a series of 360-degree spins. If at any time the paper rips, the game is over. Failure to complete this task in 60 seconds may result in elimination.
The game begins in 3, 2, 1.
How'd you get on? Did you manage to get the whole roll of toilet paper around without it breaking in 60 seconds? It's pretty hard, huh? Okay, so now you're gonna switch around roles. If you were the mummy, you are now the rapper. If you were the rapper, you are now the mummy. Are you ready? You get another 10-second counter to get yourself sorted, and then you're all good to go. And go.
The game begins in 3, 2, 1.
hopefully you had fun with that. And don't forget, if you've got more people or you want to have another go, you can always just rewind it and go again. Fantastic. Hey, as we finish up, my challenge for you is to show us your hidden talent. How have you been spending your lockdown time? You've had a whole lot more time. What have you been doing with your time? I know some people are learning instruments or languages. I've done nothing that impressive myself, but my mission has been to see if I can flip a bottle 1 time, 2 times, and 3 times in a row without dropping it. And it's going to land back in my hand like this. You ready? This is how it goes. 1, 2, 3. Yes! I nailed it! Actually, first take. That is what I've been getting excited about. But I want to see what you've been up to. Show me your hidden talent. Show me what you've been learning. Show me what you've been spending your time in lockdown doing. And hopefully it's a little bit more impressive than mine. But if it's not, that's amazing. We love what you're up to and want to see what you've been doing. Hey, as we finish up today, I just want to encourage you that you can make a difference. Just like we've been learning that the early church had it pretty tough, that times weren't ideal, times weren't easy, they were scattered all over the place, but no matter where they went, God was with them and God was able to use them to preach the good news about Jesus Christ and to show his love to everyone around them. So take on those challenges, connect with someone, pray for someone, and look for something kind to do for those around you. And that way, you can show God's love no matter where you are. Awesome. Hey, it's been so good to have you with us. Have a fantastic week, and we'll see you again next weekend.